What is going on, everybody? It is Yards After the Catch. We are live. We're just sending out the link right now so that everyone can join. Of course, you can hit us on the chat. We are on Facebook. We are on YouTube. We are in your face every Tuesday. Welcome to you and welcome to my co-host with the most, Mr. Roop. There it is. Mr. Roop, there it is. How are you doing?
You know, when you think you do it right, here it is, another week down and another loss on a couple of platforms. But I did win in the 16 team league, so I was happy about that.
Nice.
But I'm still not in panic mode because I know I drafted well, but there's some question marks here and there, and I hopefully got to make some moves. And I was talking with my friend Rob, who is supposed to be signing on tonight, and he was we were texting last night, and he was like, well, I got a question to ask. And I was like, well, go ahead, ask. I got you, whatever you need. And
Sure.
he's like, I'm going to save it for the show. And I said, well, then great, send it. And there it is. He's here. But I don't know what it is. I have no clue. He said something about laughing at us. So
he said, okay, give me a minute. So
yes.
This actually takes prep work.
Yeah. So I'm doing I'm anxiety right now. I don't know what it is, pressure. But how are you doing? How's everything with you?
I'm great. We just got done taping the trenches, and it was fantastic. Another amazing game breaker. We're going to start coming to you guys live every Tuesday night. Same mediums, the Armchair Athletics channel, the Facebook pages, and Twitch and all that stuff. So go over to YouTube, go to the Armchair Athletics, got a little explanation point on there, and subscribe so you never miss the trenches. We'll talk more about that later. We've got to wrap up week 3 and start getting into week 4 because everybody's scrambling around their waiver wire tonight, and we want to make sure that we get it right.
Last week, I think I was up to almost midnight trying to get through all the platforms. And the 5 leagues I'm in. Next year, if I am going to do 5 leagues, it's going to be one platform. I can't do that anymore. It's not worth it. I don't know if you were okay with it, but it's just maybe
I'm doing 6, and I think I've been doing it long enough. I'm kind of feeling okay with 6. 6 and the trenches is trying, but I think I'm okay, and so far so good. I won 1 game the first week, 2 games the second week, leagues, and 4 leagues this week. So I'm trending upwards. I'm feeling good. I think the running theme this year is that players aren't showing up.
No,
like JT's not showing up. CMC's not really showing up the way people wanted him to. And there was always some caution there, but you drafted him thinking he was going to show up. Jefferson's not showing up. Chase isn't showing up. Burrow, a lot of these first round picks are not showing up. It's kind of crazy.
Chris says there's 5 leagues is a lot. How many are you in, Chris? And how are you handling it? Because I'm struggling, and I don't know why, because I don't hit the waiver wire enough to make a difference because I believe in my team. It's kind of like this guy is supposed to show up eventually. How long is too long to wait on a player?
Yeah, I mean, and figure that out. 3 in the trenches for Chris. I mean, and the trenches is a beast all in itself. Chris already planning on being awake at about 2:00 Eastern time this morning when waivers clear, just so he can pick up. I don't want to get off. We'll come back to the trenches. I promise. We will talk trenches. It's insane. It's nuts. Yeah. And that's true. Chris, Patriot Sports Radio, amazing podcast for the people, by the people. And it's a fantastic podcast. You can get more than just fantasy football over there. You're going to get real world events, real world, issues mingled in with the sports, because you'd be surprised how they intertwine, but these guys do a fantastic job of helping bridge that gap that we didn't even know we were bridging ourselves. Patriot Sports Radio, go check them out. patriotsportsnow.com. So people aren't showing up. My wife has a fantastic team. She's 0-3 right now because the teams just aren't showing up.
Here we go.
We got Rob's question. So we're going to get into the waivers. We're going to do Rob's question. Then we're going to start talking about the people you want to hunt down this week for the waivers, because we had people show up. We had the running back Williams in Detroit show up. There's a lot of players that showed up this week that people are looking at. Cooper Rush is still undefeated.
Don't start.
There's backup players. There's guys that are being listed as waiver ads, and we're going to talk about should they really be there. But let's do Rob's question, and then we're going to get into that. You guys can read, but it's week 4. Everybody's in trade mode. What do you look at for trade requests? You hope that the trade would be an even trade for one swap. I'm going to disagree with that right there, but we'll get into that. But what would be the benefit? So in 2 leagues already got offered trades. One was a trade for Josh Allen and like 4 people out of the guy's roster. I don't even think I can handle any more people on my bench. So what is the look as in trading depth, the player themselves? And this is a question that every person should ask when it comes to trading. And that really you should know before you try to get into a decent trade. And I'm going to say one thing, and I'm going to let you go, Roop. Okay. For me, the rule of trading is, did your team get better? After the trade's over, you have a player, did your team get better? Or when you're deciding if you're going to make a trade, decide, will my team get better if I make this trade? Go ahead.
But you made a trade and your team didn't get better.
My team did get better. Well, not this week, but it did.
Okay.
It did at the time. At the time, it got better. But
when I'm looking at trades, I do want to make my team better, but I also look at what their team needs. And if they're just going for something like that, like a Josh Allen and 3-4 other players, you're going to have to drop some of your bench. And if your bench isn't performing, you got to do the pros and cons. I do like to do like the 2-for-1 or the 3-for-2, something like that, because I see somebody on the waivers that I might want to get. That helps sometimes, but it's hard to trade Josh Allen. I've already tried it. I've already tried it a couple times, and it's not really working in my benefit because it's so hard to pick a player like that and give up enough to where it really does help your team out. And we would have to know the team, the league, the size of the league, the value of the quarterback, and so on and so forth. So much plays into it. So
I think
it's not so one straight line.
The big unknown factor that I hear is, what is the offer? There's a lot of players, I'm sure you just don't want to list them all. But for Josh Allen, that's obviously someone you want on your team. So like you said, what is the trade-off? And you're kind of getting into strategy too. Like, how do you get your trade to go through? You've got to offer up something because, again, go back to my rule number 1. The other person on the other end of that trade should be asking the same question. If I make this trade, is my team going to get better? And so when you make that offer, put yourself in the other person's shoes and ask that question, because if the answer to that is no, then your trade's probably not going to go through. And you do see a lot of trades that are lopsided, and that's why they don't go through. Rob says Kyler and probably either Henry or Saquon and 2 others. This is to get Allen. Are you only getting Allen? What are you getting in return?
He's Allen, Kyler, let's say Henry, and then 2 others. If you're
getting Allen, Kyler, Henry, and Saquon,
he's giving up Allen, but he's going to get Kyler, Henry, and then maybe 2 others.
Oh, this is to give up Allen. Someone wants Allen, and you're going to get all these guys. For Henry, Saquon, and Kyler, for just Allen? Absolutely.
No, so he's going to get Kyler and probably Henry or Saquon, and then 2 other players. It depends on what those 2 other players are and what your running back situation is. I believe Kyler is enough, but at the same time, Josh Allen's putting up like 30, 40 points a game, and that's really hard to get rid of. But it's always good to have depth because players do get injured, and that's kind of hard to
Well, and so again, does your team get better? Because I don't know your running back situation. With Henry and Saquon, is that improvement or is that just a push? If you've got Cook already, if you've got CMC and Cook, then that's the same thing as getting Henry and Saquon in my book. So that your team's not getting better.
If you have more flex spots too, that also helps. Because if you only have 2 running back, 2 wide receivers, it's not worth the trade. But if you got a couple of flex spots, it's one of those 12 teams like the one we're in, where you have 2 running back, 2 wide receivers, 2 flex, 2 tight end. You can move those players around. That's actually really beneficial.
Yeah. Again, it's hard to say without knowing the whole deal. Allen's a hard person to give up for sure. But I think it could be done. Would you give up Allen for Hurts right now? Probably not. I mean, I don't know if you do it straight up, but I mean,
not straight up, but with something like that, yeah, I would. I would go for Hurts.
I might even consider going straight up on that one, just the way Hurts is playing right now. I guess the thing is, you have to wonder if he's going to keep playing that way, right? So,
yeah, I mean, that's a lot of fun, because to see that movement would be good and exciting for the league, but also hopefully it doesn't get vetoed. And I'm going to have to change some league rules next year, because I don't really like vetoes, as long as it's not really terrible and really one-sided. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Aurora, very much. We love you. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, so I think that's really the big thing with the trades is at the end of the day, did your team get better? And if you're going to offer a trade, you better be able to convince the other person that their team is going to get better as a result. Otherwise, you're probably not going to make that trade. And I think trades are fun.
Yeah, I want to, Hurst was a good trade originally, just by volume and numbers for you, but to get Pitts, it was a wash, because they're really not changing much. But Hurst failed this week, so that was a good no-go on your spot, even though I added some stuff. But you're right, it's hit and miss every single week. And for someone like Pitts, you're selling high because of the name, but he has not performed at all, really. And I'm kind of worried about him, because I want him to do really well. And when is the right point to get that guy? Because you let him go.
No, I mean, it's true. So let's talk about the guys that are available that people are looking at right now on the waiver wire. And there's a lot of names out there, but we talk about this every year. Just because somebody's talking about them, just because ESPN's talking about them, or whatever, does not mean that that's somebody you should go pick up.
No, you can't just live off of, oh, this is working, this is the guy. No, just because they're sitting at the top of your scrolling pattern doesn't mean
right.
Look at that volume. Look at what they did weeks 1 through X, and then look at last week. And if last week was really huge, that's probably why they're sitting at the top. Don't put too much on it, but also there are some names that I kind of do like that are kind of out there. And can we start with Romeo, please? Because
I mean, go ahead. I was going to say, why don't you kick it off? Go right ahead.
I do have him, and
Mr. Dubs. That's why I didn't drop him.
And you have him in one of our other leagues, and and that's the first thing I did. I was like, I want this guy. Like, I have Lazard, and I'm in panic mode, but I want one of those too. So I really want to try to get him across other platforms. He's just not there. But he is in the smaller leagues, so I might have to pick him up. Nobody's looking.
I mean, it's not that you can't find him if the league is deep enough, but I agree. Like he's probably not out there. I've been making moves and stuff every week. You have to drop somebody, obviously, to bring someone on. And I would look at him and be like, nope, he's going to turn on. He's going to turn on. And sure enough, this week he definitely turned on. We'll see if he stays on. And that's really the question that we're kind of talking about right now is, and you had already, I mean, exactly what you said. Just because they were on this week doesn't mean they're going to stay on. So let's look at some of these waiver acquisitions that everybody's kind of looking at to decide if they should be there. You got anybody right now?
Yeah, someone with a shoulder injury, Cook. I think Alexander Madison is always a good one. I mean, there's two running backs really that I really would like to get. Also, is Khalil Herbert. I mean, when you get injuries with the running backs and those two backup running backs, I had to say that so I didn't like stutter and stumble all over it. Those two guys have come in and they have, I mean, exceeded expectations. So you want to kind of aim for those two guys right there. And I will be if I can, if nobody has them, and I'll even worth a stash for right now.
Well, if you're in a league with me, I can promise you that Madison is probably not there because I am a big Madison person. Because I know Cook has never gone more than 10 games. And so I know he's going to be out. I know Madison's going to get some play at some point. Madison always performs well. So I always have him kind of stashed on my bench for that situation. It hasn't reached that point yet. Yes, Cook has a shoulder injury, but he's still playing. But Madison is getting reps. Madison is someone that you could plug in, especially once the bye weeks start kicking up. I do like Madison a lot. People were talking about Khalil Herbert at the beginning of the season, so I would say it's a lower chance that he's available, but right now he's only owned in 37.1% of leagues, according to fantasypros.com. So he's out there. Russell, not to play the other side, Russell Gage is also only about half owned in leagues, but you have to understand that Russell Gage had a big week because there were no other receivers to throw to. So I don't consider Russell Gage somebody that I'm going to waste fab dollars on, that I'm going to waste a roster spot on at this point.
If you have somebody that is just not performing, that somebody just got hurt, you can probably get them for free, or, I mean, and if you're only doing waivers, why waste somebody who's probably just going to ride your bench unless more injuries happen? There are other people that I would be looking for due to other injuries that I can get to in a little bit, but he's a little bit further down and not, he used to be known, but he's not really at the top sitting right now.
And look, even with Herbert, don't expect this same type of performance week after week. I mean, he's still in a share situation, but I admit it, out of the people that are widely available, with the exception of Dubs, he's probably at the top of my list, especially being a running back that's going to get play. I would put Herbert above Madison, even because I know Madison's going to play at some point. I know Herbert's going to play now.
Yeah. I like them both, but at the same time, you said nothing from the Bears, and I still like Herbert though. Like it's just nothing.
It's just because running backs are such a premium. I do have a team that really needs running back, but it's also, I think that's a 14, 16 team league. And so I know Herbert's not out there because I've already looked. So it's not someone that I can acquire. But again, when you're in these deeper leagues, when you're in these 12 team leagues, there's probably enough out there in a 10-person league that you probably don't need to dig as deep as Herbert. But once you start getting up in the 12 team leagues and stuff like that, Herbert could definitely be a good add. Now, Dubs, for some reason, is only 21% owned. I don't know why that is. I imagine people were probably dropping him after week 1 and 2. And so that's why he's out there. So Dubs is a fantastic find if he's available in your league.
He is actually, I believe, 8 for 8 for 78 yards or something, whatever he did. I can't remember, but he caught all his passes. So that's
every single one. That's big for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, if you don't think Aaron Rodgers logs that stuff into his memory banks, you're not paying attention to Aaron Rodgers, because that's exactly why Cobb is back. He brought Cobb back was for that consistency, and it's going to be the same thing. If you catch the ball, Aaron will throw it to you, period.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna skip it. I'm not that happy about it because I have Lazard, I had Watkins in the deeper leagues, and just hoping that would hit. And now here we go with this rookie, which I'm really happy for, but it hurts knowing that you did all that research, like, oh, this should be the guy, and then the rookie steps up, and now who's going to be it for the next week coming suit? So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. The
not putting that up there.
I will put it up. You brought up that's another great point. Just because Dubs had a big week does not mean it's time to dump Lazard. Lazard is still gonna catch balls. Lazard is still gonna beat Dub some weeks, and so don't just go getting rid of people because you're not going to dump Swift just because Williams performed. You're not going to dump Gordon or well, I guess you dump Williams in Denver because Gordon had a bigger week. Things like that. You just have to be careful with that stuff. So yes, Dubs is a great pickup. That doesn't mean you have to get rid of Lazard while you're doing it. Traylon Burks owned in just over half the leagues. He is catching balls. Woods still the number one receiver there, I would say, but the transition is happening before our eyes.
Mm-hmm. You know who else I'm looking at? And I know it's really bad.
Here we go.
Let's not pick up somebody. Let's pay attention to somebody.
Okay.
It's Kenny Golladay.
Waiver watch on Kenny Golladay.
Waiver wire. Just only because Sterling Shepard, their number one wide receiver,
you saw him get hurt last night.
Yeah, he went 5 for 10 targets for 49 yards. He is out for the season. Somebody's got to step up. Apparently, there's like a Richie James there. Who else? I mean, just like I know Golladay went 0 for 3. And that's why I'm saying watch, not pick up. Watch, because we don't know what's going to happen.
I think if you're in a deep league, though, you're fine picking up Golladay. I really do.
I dropped him 2 weeks ago in our 16-team league, and now I'm like, well, great. Now what's going to happen?
Now you wish you had him because he is a veteran. He already knows the system, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I mean, one of these new guys might step up, and that's just as equal a good pickup. Grab one of these newer guys to see how they do as well. But I would grab something there because, like you said, Shepard is out for the season and somebody's going to have to pick up that role. And that's one of the ones, if you look at this list that we're looking at on fantasypros.com, which I love, by the way, I love fantasypros.com. They usually set you up pretty nice. But you go down the list, I'm just going to stop at some point. I'm at 34 and I don't see any New York Giants on there, and they should be there because, like you said, Shepard's out. So that's one of those ones that you can probably get on a value, get on a bargain. Maybe not, maybe get for free. Because someone's going to have to fill that role. Someone's got to start catching the balls there. That's a great look. Another person.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
I was going to say, remember that Josh Allen's offensive coordinator came over to the Giants. So I feel like there's going to be a little transition, obviously, like I said, our first show this year, but remember, like, that's still this similar system. And you want to kind of maybe get one of those wide receivers. If that young guy was Richie, I think his name is, if he's sticking around, and he had Richie James went 4 for 5 for 36 yards. It's not flashy, but there's 10 targets out there that are going to somebody else in that lineup. I don't know if it's Golladay. I don't know if it's one of the tight ends. I don't know if it's Richie James. But, 2 or 3 more targets is another 30 plus yards, or maybe even a touchdown. That's your 15 points that you need to win your league. So, or at least your week. Just pay attention to it. It's not going to cost you a lot. That's probably the best that I could do for you. Secret wise, don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anybody.
It'll be Barkley. Yeah. It will be Barkley.
It might be Barkley.
So wait, am I playing Barkley this week? Because then it is Barkley.
Because then it definitely is Barkley. Man, I tell you what, I had a roster I played against everybody who went big this week. That guy obviously had there's solace in knowing that nobody else could have beat him either. But yeah, Devontae Smith, Hurts, who else? One of the big running backs.
How do you feel about Devontae Smith?
Look, boomer bust again. The ball's going to get passed around. Hurts is going to play the matchup. So some weeks it's going to be Brown, some weeks it's going to be Devonta, some weeks it's going to be more evenly split. Still good people to have on your roster. You're going to play AJ Brown every week. I don't know if you're necessarily going to play Devonta Smith every week.
Remember, Devonta Smith had 0 points and then like 20 plus. That's not the type of player you want to put in your lineup, and it's luck. That's not We're not riding on luck. That's not that might get you to the playoffs, but that 0 is going to hurt in week 16.
A lower end player you might be able to get on a bargain too. I'm not, this isn't going to be high on your priority list, but a lot of people dropping Harrison Butker's when he got hurt, so he is actually out there when he comes back. You could get an early steal if you have room to hold him on your bench till he comes back. He's obviously a great kicker. He's going to get you a lot of points, and a lot of people have dropped him at the injury trying to free up roster spots. Do I see an upcoming QB change in the Giants? Me, no, I don't see any reason to, and I mean, they're undefeated until last night. They won their first 2 games. They barely lost it last night. I don't see why they would make a change. Root?
Danny's going to have to step up his game. He's not impressing enough for me as an owner, as a general manager, to look at next year's draft and be like, we're taking this rookie QB round 1. He's not done enough to impress me to keep him on the team. So yeah, he needs to pull a Josh Allen the rest of the year. And it's
I'll give you that. And that's true. I guess maybe there's some clarification there about when do I say I mean, in the recent future. I kind of took that question as a recent future, but
so did I
for next season. Yeah, I could definitely see them trying something else, especially with Barkley. Isn't it? I don't even know. Made the videos and he would disguise himself to see if his players would recognize him.
Eli Manning.
Is it Tyrod?
Is it Tyrod? Oh,
I thought it was.
Tyrod.
Is it Tyrod? I thought it was. Someone else because I thought they were playing anyway. Yeah, I don't know, and that's probably a good thing. If you're a Giants fan that you don't know who the backup is, right?
Poor Tyrod. If it is Tyrod, like play him 2 weeks and then hope.
I definitely don't see a change coming if it's not. So we talked about players not showing up. So let's. Yeah. Talk about these. We called the segment last year what we call thanks for nothing. Thanks for nothing, guy, for not showing up this week. There were definitely a couple of them. The crazy part to me is that the ones who aren't showing up, and we talked about this quickly at the beginning of the show, are the people that definitely should be showing up. So normally a thanks for nothing is like a Devontae Smith player when he comes up with 0, or a Kyle Pitts with his poor output the first couple of weeks. Someone that you kind of, may or may not play, whatever. But I mean, we're talking like the big names. Justin Jefferson, thanks for nothing.
Do you want me
go ahead?
Do you want me to tell you my entire lineup?
Because it's all thanks for nothing.
I got Justin Herbert. I'm going to skip the second QB. I got Najee Harris at 13 points, Justin Jefferson at 4.4, Rashad Bateman 5.9, Pittman got 15.2. That was fine. Zach Ertz 10, and the Bills defense at 8. I'm thinking, I had a really good team, and none of them showed up. And other weeks, only one of them gets like 40 points, and then the rest of them are like mediocre. So then I get another loss here and there. It's so funny to me. And then one time a year, everybody shows up, and that's when I'm playing someone who got like 80 points and their QB got hurt in first quarter. So I'm kind of on the fence of panic and not panic and just like laughing at it. Like, all right, well, I guess I'm just in for the next couple of weeks, just setting a lineup for disaster to strike.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great idea. So I'm going to do that. I told you my wife has a decent roster. People just aren't showing up. Tom Brady. Big one for everybody, not really showing up yet this year. Derrick Henry has had a week.
He did okay. Yeah.
He had a week.
He was on there.
Yeah. Everett hasn't really lived up to Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis is, had
week 1.
Just a horrible. You would think against Miami that he would have had a great game. Did not.
How many people I put in DraftKings for Miami and Buffalo game? Like, it was across the board.
Oh, yeah.
Waddle and Hill and Josh Allen. I'm like, yeah. And
really, numbers were really with Waddle. I guess Allen too.
It just, I suppose you feel like it was going to be a shootout, and it was 19-21 or something.
I mean, there was things going on. CeeDee Lamb not really showing up until last night. Last night finally came through. Got some Monday Night Miracles for people. We'll get into those in a little bit. Rob says Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's a big one that people really thought was going to come firing out the gate. Yeah.
That was me.
I think the thing that you're seeing here is you didn't see, there's always talk about how especially the studs are playing less and less in preseason because they don't want to get hurt. And you see the lag now. I think things are going to keep picking up. Things are going to get rolling and stuff now that we're into week 3, going into week 4. People are starting to get a feel for it. But I really think the lack of preseason play is why we are seeing so many of these big players not put up big numbers.
When it comes to players, I was thinking weeks 3 and 4, when your studs aren't doing much, that's the time when people start to panic. This is the time to start making some trades and saying, well, hey, he's not even performing. Try to get him at a low cost and, see what happens. Put him on your bench. So what? He's not performing. It'll be fine.
But you can get some good trade value out of people that aren't quite performing right now. I'm not saying go trade Chase or Jefferson or anything like that, but you can trade some people.
I want to. I regret picking up Justin Jefferson, right? I should have picked Josh Allen with 1.1 instead of Jefferson because
But Jefferson's going to pay off eventually.
He does it. He does that at least once a year. Yes, I know.
JT will pay off. CMC is going to keep having games, although he's already kind of starting to rack up the injuries. Now might be a great time to see if you can get some value for CMC. Yeah, I'm telling you, because you think he's going to write it out. I'm telling you, write that down.
He's not. He doesn't have enough big enough games to get the trade value for him. You're going to go across the board with him, and it's not worth it.
But the thing is people. There's a lot of people out there just like you that just think CMC is going to have a great year still, and
then they're going to come for him, and they're going to try to make that trade and say, well, and they're going to come and argue and hit you in the DMs and be like, hey, he's not performing. I'm not going to give you, JT for him. I'm going to give you X, Y, and Z or whatever,
maybe. I think you can get value for him, but hey, write that down. We don't agree on stuff. So you talked about, you had already brought up, well, I brought it up to the Monday night thing. CeeDee Lamb finally showing up, getting the job done, doing what he's supposed to do. We'll see if that trend continues. And you have, the only undefeated quarterback, maybe in NFL history, to go his entire career. If he were to hang it up and retire right now, he would retire undefeated. Future Hall of Famer Cooper Rush.
8-0.
Raise your hand if he's on your roster, because Cooper Rush, it's funny because he's not even on regardless, he's not on the waiver ads, he's not anywhere. I'm looking at, they have Brian Hoyer and Bailey Zappi. I don't know who that is. Both of them play for New.
Zap.
Yeah. They have
First
both
of all,
of them.
Rush is only getting like 17 or 19 points a game. He should.
It's got to be more than Brian Hoyer is going to get. I don't care.
Not with Dak coming back, not this week, but maybe next week. So
I don't see it. But
if you have him on your roster, you better be in an 18-team league.
Well, look, and that's what I was just going to ask. Like, do you see some value in streaming Cooper if you had to? We've got a team in the trenches that picked up Fields this week because they had got decimated from the game breakers. They didn't want to lose a quality player, so they picked up Fields, hoping they'd get something out of him. And they're really hurting in the quarterback situation. Could you stream Cooper for a week? He's actually a Dallas fan too, for that matter.
If I was probably a Dallas fan, probably, but no. And you know what? Mr. Smith has been quiet. Okay, that's fine. He can stay quiet. I don't like what he says. And I'm going to go on record and saying that because he says some wild.
He says stuff for shock value, and he gets it. He knows what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing. Come at me, bro.
Come at me.
But yeah, so the Monday Night Miracles happened for people with the Dallas Cowboys. CD showed up. The Cowboys defense showed up. The Giants did not show up. Barkley did okay, but not what you were expecting from him. So that helps some people out
Barkley's
as
not
well.
going to get 40 points a game, so we got to temper our expectations.
He might
15 to 25. Just
Cowboys defense is not horrible, and they definitely showed up last night.
Yeah, it was pretty ugly. What was it 6-3?
It was the Giants. It was the Giants. Yeah, the first half was really bad.
Terrible. And I stopped watching. I was like,
I think after the first half, the refs, the officiating committee, or whoever, the owners went down and said, "Hey, look, this is Monday night. We need better." And so the second half, you finally got scoring. Like, we need you guys to take some shots down the field for the people that are still watching. But
I can believe that. Don't get me started on referees. It's so bad. Not necessarily NFL, but
not NFL college. So much, but definitely college. Before we get to the college chaos, yes, we are going to do college chaos. We always do it. And I love it. It's fun. We have to talk the trenches because, you guys may or may not know, we film the trenches every night before we come on here. Every Tuesday before we come on here is when we film it. Trenches going live every Tuesday from now on, 6:45. You're going to get all the behind the scenes stuff, all the craziness as it happens. No more edits. We're going to be live doing the trenches, but we taped it tonight. 12 teams, $5,000, one winner. And the best part of the whole thing is the game breakers. Game breakers are rules that are unbeknownst to everybody until the top scorer picks them every week. Last week, the game breaker stipulated that if your player lost the head-to-head matchup with the opponent, they got kicked off the team. So with these big disappointments that we've been having, we saw Jamar Chase go back into the pool. Swift could have gone back into the pool, but didn't. Jefferson could have gone back in the pool, but didn't get picked this week. We saw Stafford go back in the pool. Brandon Cooks is back in the waiver pool. Who else?
Somebody played nice and put a kicker in there, and the rest of the league was not. Yeah, they played favorites. They didn't. Two teams
decided to work together and not lose a top tier player, and so they both agreed to put the kickers back in the waiver pool. And yeah, that definitely sparked some controversy.
I feel like doing that, and people started to see it and like, okay, we're gonna do all these backdoor deals. Yeah, it's about to go down, and I think it's about to get ugly. It's going to get really ugly in them trenches. And
it already started getting ugly. We saw one team stab. We saw one of these backdoor deals go the other way, and someone got stabbed in the back. They had made a backdoor deal, and then somebody, did not follow through, and the other team did not see that coming, and it cost somebody a win. It's the trenches, though. It's the trenches. It's going down. It's dirty. It's hard. He
said he would buy him some drinks after the season was over if he wins. So
I think that drink might get poured in his face if he did.
Yeah, I think he's gonna get slapped right back. I don't know what's gonna happen, but we should do it live. If they ever hang out, but
yes,
it's going to be an exciting beginning, middle, and end, and I'm looking forward to what happens every week. And it's going to be exciting.
Don't miss it.
It is like war.
It is 100% war. And after tonight, the battle just got kicked up big time.
It got pretty ugly. Like there might be a couple of little blood drops in there somewhere because, people are getting angry.
Some people are not getting Christmas cards this year. So as we get to the tail end, and of course, anytime during this, if you guys have questions, send them in. If you guys have comments or anything, send them in.
I think there's no questions, or let me say minimal questions, because we helped them out so much last year, and this year they're perfect. They have
everything's figured out because
except me. I have issues. on a lot of my teams. I don't know what to do. I'm gonna be up till midnight. Like, nope, not going for that. And then just
I'm gonna see what's going on in the trenches when it happens at 2 a.m. Eastern. College chaos. So last week you kind of, I'm just gonna say it. You kind of wussed out. You didn't want to make any guesses. You thought everything was going to go certain ways. He didn't really make any college, and there was plenty of action. There's plenty of stuff that you could have gone after.
First of all, okay, I did pick some but I just didn't really feel comfortable with the rest because I was trying to save my percentage. Okay.
Sure. I told you that you were kind of being a wuss trying to save your percentage.
Yeah. This is second time this year I've been called a wuss or weak or whatever.
Oh, soft. I think soft is what it was.
Yeah, soft.
Yes.
So I'm gonna have to get t-shirts made now. I can't wait. But I went a little heavier tonight, even though I don't believe 100% of my picks, but it's just fun to talk a little trash about it. But I did.
I don't think you have to believe them. I don't think you have to believe in them as much as make them, because you could have had some really good ones last week if you just, kind of cowboyed up a little bit and decided to do it, but you didn't. And now we really don't have anything.
What were the upsets
to talk
that
on the
were
progress report?
Did you have we should start having you pick some too, just for fun, just to, because if we
know we should, because when I pick them, exactly where to go, and that's the other way, because everything I pick goes wrong, and that's why I don't bet. Because literally everything I bet on it goes the other way, and it doesn't matter how lopsided it would have been. That's why I never bet on Ohio State, even though they usually go undefeated every year, or with maybe one loss. There's not a lot of money to be made there because they're always favored, but I never do it because we'd lose every goddamn game if I did that. But yeah, Wake Forest almost pulled off Clemson. Florida almost pulled off.
And that was the one
Tennessee.
I went extra on.
You did, and it almost happened just like the Texas Alabama game a little while ago. And you're right. I mean, I will give you that. There were close ones, but you're right. Most of them did not pan out. Arkansas almost got Texas A&M as well. There was the one upset, which I out of respect, we won't bring it up. The Kent State beat Oklahoma, but you would never call that one, and I would never ask you to call that one. And I don't think would anybody actually call that. Like, who actually called that?
Nobody calls these really major upsets and has a lot of confidence behind them. I don't. When you force me to push into that Wake Forest Clemson one, I'm like, all right, I'll just throw that out there. And that's what happened last week. And the only thing I got was, what was it? The Texas A&M over Arkansas.
Was it no? Because Texas A&M was already ahead in the rankings, I think, weren't they? No, they are now. I don't know. Yeah. They might not have been. They are now. All right. So
new ones.
You've got new ones for this week. College Chaos. Bring it. T-Hall, you're listening. You do know a lot about college. So let's see how you feel about these picks. I want to hear from all you guys out there how you feel about these College Chaos picks. Let's go.
Yeah. And I don't want to hear what, we didn't put your little comment on there, T-Hall. So you can just shut your mouth. This time I'm going with UCLA upsets number 15 Washington.
I knew you were going to pick that one.
I know. Are you going to?
No.
Look at they both look at the teams they both played. I actually did investigate this much. I just said, who do they play? I was like, nobody. Okay, fine. That's what I was like. Let's go with this one. UCLA is at home is why I picked them. That's the only reason why.
I gotcha.
That was the only reason why. Because sometimes it's you normally win at home. I want to talk about it. So
you walked into that one.
Yeah, I did. So it looks like Washington's going to win this week.
Yeah.
So are you on board or not?
It's good reasoning. I hear you. I'm supposed to be hashtag writing this down. You've already written them down. So that's good.
I did write them down because I'll forget.
Yeah, no, I'm not taking that one. I'm not taking that action.
Okay.
No, I think Washington wins that game.
Okay. Well, number 16, Baylor upsets number 9, Oklahoma State.
Now, wait a minute. You went against Baylor, and you actually got that one that week, that Baylor was going to lose that game week before last, and now you're picking Baylor to beat Oklahoma State?
One of them's got to win, Chris. Why don't you try to get on board? One of them's got it's 50-50 shot right about now. So,
I mean, it's they're in the same conference, are they not?
Yeah. And okay, I'm picking ones that are ranked. So that limits me to 25.
It does. That is true.
And
That is
about
true.
20 of them aren't really worth it because, it's not App State against Alabama and App State beats Alabama, something like that. So
right, yeah.
I'm staying away from anything like that, but I'm trying to have a little bit of fun with, something like that. And since I don't pick Big 12 very often because we're not ranked very often, I figured this was a good one to kind of go for. And yeah, I wanted them to kind of lose. And let's be honest, I want Oklahoma State to win due to their ranking, and we play them later on in the season, which just makes them move up, which will help us move up. And so that's why I'm picking that. And let me tell you something else. Oklahoma fans, some of them are smart, some of them don't understand college football. People were cheering for Texas to lose. And
no, you don't want that.
You don't want that. You have to understand. No. I don't want Texas to win when they play us, but every other time I want them to win. Them losing against other teams does us no good. We need them to win. And now they're not ranked. And now when we play them, they probably won't be ranked. So it doesn't help our strength of schedule, as people like to say.
It does not.
If you're a fan of college football, even if you have this bitter rivalry where, Oklahoma hates Texas, Texas hates Oklahoma, you're secretly hoping Texas beats Alabama and Oklahoma beats XYZ. So when you play each other and you're both ranked 1 and 2, that's a good thing. If you're both unranked because you both lost, I don't know why you're cheering. Like cheer secretly inside, but be screaming like, yes, we need you to get this win. So that's my little spiel about fanning. That's what I'm going to call it. Fanning on college stuff. Iowa over Michigan, Rob.
Write that down.
Yeah.
Fanning. So you're not touching Kentucky, Mississippi.
It crossed my mind.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to put them on, but it was kind of because like I did the other one was at 23-24, and you're like, that's not really an upset. And I was like, well, maybe I'll stay away from that because of that. But I am going to pick, I want that upset. I do.
I'm taking Mississippi. That's why I brought it up. Because I didn't think you were. So you can write that down as mine. You say you want me to, here you go. Mississippi. No, it's straight Mississippi.
Oh, Mississippi. Okay. And then I'm taking who? Kentucky. That's what it was.
Are you going to take Kentucky? Because that's not an upset. Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Well, it's not.
Enough. It's close enough.
It's Kentucky's 7, Mississippi's 14. That's not an upset.
That's right. That's right. That's what it was. That's why I didn't pick it. I wanted Kentucky to win.
Okay. Well, there you go. I'm taking Mississippi. Iowa, and go ahead.
Iowa over Michigan? No. I don't want any part of Iowa who's scoring 7 points a game.
No.
On average. I'll pass. Michigan's going to destroy them.
I think that Arkansas gives Alabama a scare. I still think Alabama's probably going to win, but I think Arkansas gives Alabama a scare.
I put it on my list.
There it is.
So there it is. I'm going Arkansas is going to scare enough to get 1 extra point at least. Do you think this will be an upset?
I like I said, I think Alabama still wins, but
just when you look at what Alabama's done, they struggled against Texas. They didn't look great. Didn't they play Kent State? Was that them? Kent State?
You might be right.
Yeah. I'm thinking Alabama's struggling this year, and to go into Arkansas or Arkansas or wherever you're from, how you say it, I'm kind of I want Alabama to lose because they should have lost the Texas game due to refereeing. So I'm all for it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. T says the SEC won't let Arkansas win. I don't know why not, because
I agree. Alabama can Alabama lose either.
Well, Alabama can have 2 losses and still get in. Doesn't matter.
Alabama can have 3 losses.
Yeah, they have 3 losses.
It was a close, strong loss. And yeah, that's what it was. UGA played Kent State and they struggled. That's what it was. Yeah, okay. Thank you for that. I appreciate that right there. Thanks, T. And they did struggle. And that's why I'm saying nobody is safe this year. Nobody. Like every elite team lost a lot of players or they're rebuilding or whatever. I think this is going to be a really fun ride down the stretch.
For college?
For college. Big time. Like just because everybody's
Are we going to have So do we have, and we'll kind of wrap up College Chaos with this, but will there be an undefeated team? And if so, how many at the end of the season? Being that stuff is going to get crazy.
Due to lack of knowledge of strength of schedule and seeing the schedule, because I don't dig too deep because it kind of takes.
All right, this is the homework. Everybody hold them to it. Next week, I want to know.
The answer is no.
The answer is no. There will be no undefeateds. T. Hall says yes. I know he thinks Alabama because he doesn't believe
Alabama and Georgia when they play each other to be a tie. So
he says UGA has no one.
That's true. Yeah. Well, no,
that is kind of
for the championship.
Yeah, but that's not regular season.
They like to lay down for Alabama one time and then get back. So they both make it in. It's kind of like one of those favoritism things.
I think it's one of those backdoor deals, possibly.
I hope everybody has at least one loss. Ohio State.
Says Ohio. I mean, we'll see with that team up north.
I'll have to do some homework, but there's just what I've been seeing. Like they're not dominating the teams they should dominate. That's what I'm saying.
Who's that?
And, Alabama, Georgia.
Oh, just the big teams are not putting up like the giant points on.
Ohio State even struggled a little bit with the team, so it's like
they're not putting up numbers I want to see from as an Ohio State fan. I expect more. They're winning.
And that's what I want. You should be able to leave during halftime.
Except for Toledo.
A pizza.
Yeah. 77 points.
Grab yourself a pizza on the way out at halftime. Go home, watch the game, finish it off, knowing that you won 79-14. But it's just not happening this year. And that's what worries me about all the teams is there's going to be some upsets, and I don't know when they're going to happen. But, this week it's going to be Alabama.
Alabama getting upset. There it is. He's calling it. He's not listening out this time.
Yeah, no. Words hurt. And my one feeling is kind of on the fence. I probably have to put on some guy liner, maybe get some tears going down, something, but we'll see.
We'll see. And we'll see you guys next week, I hope. Come back, join us live, come be on the show, follow those links. We love Rob, T, Aurora. We love having you guys in the room every week. Click the link, come on the show. Why not? Put your little picture up here next to ours and let's yak some football. Don't forget to Catch the Trenches. It's going to be live every week from now on, Tuesday, 6:45.
Gotta follow that Armchair Athletics.
Follow it, subscribe to it, and make sure you catch a show because it's more insane than we ever could have imagined. We had an idea of insanity when we put this together. We did not realize it was going to be this insane.
It's a lot of fun to see. It's a lot of fun to see what happens with the game breakers and what's going to happen, like who's upset and the backstabbing I did not know was coming. And that's what was really exciting for me. And I'm part of the show. I'm in the background doing all the work, but
when I got the message about the backstab, I couldn't believe it. I was just like, this is not going to happen, but it sure did. But yeah, Catch the Trenches. Go subscribe to the Armchair Athletics. You never miss an episode of the Trenches or Yards After the Catch. Make sure you come here, get all the best fantasy knowledge that you need to win all your leagues because we're just handing it out for free. Don't pay for it. Get it for free right here. We'll see you guys next week. Everybody be safe. Send us your questions, comments all week long. You don't have to wait for the show. And we'll see you guys on the other side, hopefully with a few more W's in your column. I am Chris Fox for my co-host, the best in all the land, Mr. Roop. There it is. Thanks for yakking football with us, everybody.
You guys take care. Be safe.
See you guys next week.